Awesome thing, what?
Oh, I think peanut butter just
Oh.
really stinks. Oh gosh. Oh, Peter, what is. So, hi, I'm Regina,
I'm Daniel.
and welcome to our channel, Our Loveland Life. We just wanted to take the time to introduce ourselves, and I guess Daniel will go first.
Hello. So I'm Daniel, obviously of the two. I'm a stay-at-home dad. I do a lot of the curriculums and outdoor activities with our two boys. A lot of this is going to be our experiences and our lifestyle, really putting it out there for you guys to see, which is very interesting for us because it's all fairly new. And then
So, kind of going off of that, ultimately, like he mentioned, he is the stay at home dad with the boys, and he does the schooling and a lot of the activities. While Mama over here, I stay at home too, but in a different capacity. I work from home as a nurse. I am a chronic kidney disease nurse case manager. So, I talk a lot about kidneys and really just educating people on their kidney health. 1 out of 7 people, I believe, have chronic kidney disease, if I remember right. So if you don't know your kidney health, I gotta put it in here. Talk to your doctor, find out what your GFR is, and take the appropriate steps to protect yourself. It kind of sounds like a sex education deal, but it's about kidneys. Okay. Anyway, so our life largely revolves around gardening and me cooking at home, him doing the dishes, hopefully. I would say, we go on a lot of outdoor adventures when we can. We work opposite shifts in a way, so like he works part-time. So there's a lot of evenings where he's not here, but anytime he has a time off and I have the time off, we make sure we're doing something fun with the kids, something that we'll enjoy too. So you'll see a lot of that if you're ever interested in visiting northern Colorado or even living out here. You're going to see a lot of things that you might like to do, especially if you've got littles.
Which is either a lot of hiking, being that we're up north in Colorado.
Yeah.
Which is, we also do some kayaking, lots of lake swimming and finding areas to visit.
Like swim beaches. Mm-hmm. We have several swim beaches out here. Lots of trails, and it's not always hiking. There's a lot of walking to be had and little nooks and crannies that aren't as popular that we'll definitely be bringing you guys to, which maybe that's not a good thing. I don't know, because we don't want it to get more popular than it already is. We want to keep it kind of secret, but we'll share with you guys our favorite places and our favorite foods and our gardening experiences. And ultimately, we live in a pretty small house. We don't have a lot of land, figuratively speaking. I think we live on 0.16 acres. So what is that? 0.16 acres, whatever, however that is worded. So what have you. Yeah. So 0.16 acres. I don't know how else you would word that. I'm sure somebody will know the appropriate way to say it. But our house is a little over 1,100 square feet, so we're not living in a mansion by any means, but we recognize that's still bigger than a lot of people have. But I can show you how to grow seedlings in a very small area. This year's our 4th gardening season.
This would be our 4th. A lot of it we've seen work well.
Yeah.
And stuff. We're still improving.
Yes,
there's
definitely.
Still some more builds, which I'm really excited.
The other thing is we don't just garden. Well, I guess it is still kind of gardening, but we have fruit trees. We have a lot of fruit bushes. We definitely make sure that we have variety. We are aiming to be more sustainable, but also really just enjoy it, right? Like, it's not just, we want to follow the trend of sustainability, which is not a bad trend.
Here she comes.
We're gonna have sounds of PETA eating her treat. Ugh, I feel like my hands are still slimy. Okay, so where were we? Sustainability. We were just saying that is a goal of ours, and that will probably look different as we go. I would say the other thing that's really important to bring up about us, that is something that we live out on a daily basis, is that we are a vegan family. So I know Daniel might have some things to say about why he chose to be vegan. I mean, we've been vegan for over a year. Yeah, it was October of 2019 is when we made the choice to go vegan. And we had tried before that. We weren't very good at
like
it.
At home, we would eat that way or try to be that way, but when we went out, it wasn't like.
We were like, oh, when we go out, it's a treat.
Yeah.
And then we found ourselves going out
more
a lot.
Often
and
more often,
you know, it never, or when we were at friends' houses, we would say, oh, well, we're just gonna, it's like, what is a friend's house nowadays with COVID? But anyway, you know, we would say, oh, if we go out to a friend's house, we can just eat whatever they're serving. But we just started to feel like it didn't, well, we knew, it's not even feel like, we just knew that it didn't morally align or ethically align with how we were feeling. It just felt more inside
of how exactly.
Like hypocrites.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no other way around it. Like, we wouldn't kill the animal ourselves, so why would we pay somebody else to do it? Just made us, like I said, hypocrites. There's really no way around it. So if you feel differently, I mean, that is completely up to you in your own journey, but that's just how we felt. The next natural question is, people will say, oh, well, what about your kids? Are they vegan? And yes, they are. You know, and Zen really hasn't made a proactive choice, but he's very much, and that's our youngest, but he's very much, you know, not okay with animals getting hurt, even though he's our little rough and tough child. Our oldest, you know, however, he really has made the intentional choice. November of, not last year, 2019 is when he made the choice. Couldn't hold that. You couldn't hold that until the end. I'm calling you out.
I couldn't. I had a burp.
Yeah. And so ultimately, he made the choice. We were at a friend's house for Thanksgiving, and he saw the bird, and he ate what everybody else was eating, you know, and he didn't really think much of it, but then he started to ask questions, because that's just the kind of person he is. He asks so many questions. He always digs deep. It's just, again, part of who he is. Mm-hmm. And so when he figured out, after we showed him a video, and it was just the Department of Agriculture, you know, here in Colorado, showed how turkeys are processed, so probably very similar to the turkey that he ate that night. And after he saw that, he was just, nope, done. And he loves to eat all foods, so yeah. He eats everything from salads to plant-based meats, yeah. Whereas our youngest, he's more selective, and he never even, when we were still eating meat, he didn't even like meat then. Like, the texture must have thrown him off, because he wasn't a big fan. So in reality, it has not been a hard transition. Once our mental shift happened, it hasn't been a hard transition. But I think for Daniel, I think it's been a little bit different journey, because, you know, there's not always a lot of diversity, at least in our community, when it comes to veganism. Let alone, I know, you should just share your story. You have things to say about it. And
I wanted to see where you're going with it.
I'm trying to gear it up. I'm trying to, like, pass it off, and I don't know. I'm passing the baton.
No, so I feel like being a Mexican man, how being vegan now, or not even relatable growing up. You have a lot of things revolving around the meat and dairy industry for all kinds of dishes, and meals prepped for all kinds of gatherings or fiestas. But me making this change in my life, I think, just makes more morally sound in a lot of different ways. And now, knowing that where I've been and how I am now, I just wish I would have been vegan sooner, or just making that whole change. Not necessarily just, I'm vegan. It's just understanding the whole concept of the meat and dairy industry and how they're being treated. For me, just knowing, because now we have some chickens, we have rabbits, but we don't use them.
Which are all, and it's a separate story. We'll go into that further.
But I just feel, for me, knowing that animals have personalities.
Definitely.
Each one of our chickens has a different personality. For the most part, they don't like her.
Only one doesn't like me. That's so messed up.
But I could go outside and I can pick up any one of them. Or I can pick up our rabbits too. Our rabbits have a lot of personality.
Yes, I was shocked by how much personality rabbits have.
And they're not little rabbits. They're, oh my gosh, they're big rabbits.
Only one is that big. I mean, Oscar, they're brother and sister, and Oscar, he looks small compared to his sister, but he's not small.
Well, I'm just saying, as for me growing up in the lifestyle being Hispanic, I know that's not something that family members would be so keen on to be understanding or knowing where I'm coming from with this.
It's just different. It's
is.
just different. It's going against the grain a little bit, and
It's going against a lot of traditions, and it's not a tradition that I wanted to from my life, let alone from my family. I didn't choose or say, hey, this is how it's going to be now with my boys. I know that they cognitive just made the decision on their own, especially my oldest, knowing like where all this food comes from. And I already felt like that in my life, making the change was just more sound. And I love it. I love where I'm at with this. I know we've learned a lot with each other. And I think that's one of the reasons why we continue to garden, so we can be having these awesome harvests for ourselves with what we have.
Well, not just that, but it's a lot of fun to learn about vegetables. We both grew up in a city, and gardening was not something that we really grew up around, and so it's been a really new experience. And I feel like for the most part, family has been understanding that we're vegan, but of course with some skepticism and some hesitancy. It doesn't come without its concerns, I suppose. But we've made an informed choice, and we know which vitamins to be looking for. What are you doing?
I pushed the button.
Don't touch it again. Oh my gosh, Daniel. Oh, I'm gonna have to figure it out. Don't move.
Get up and come back.
I'm going to. But yeah, all that to say is that we're vegan and we enjoy it, and
many more adventures to come. I mean,
if you're watching this and you have insight on something, feel free to share in the comments below. And if you want to see more, or if you like what you've seen today, I guess like or subscribe, or I think they say ring the bell. So we appreciate you tuning in, and I'm gonna do my best to edit this, but I'm not making any promises because this is new to us, and it's going to be an adventure.